Hello, welcome back. Today we are discussing episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Love is Blind season 9. And I am almost speechless. I'm going to do my best to find some speeches to share with you today, but seriously, let's jump straight into it. So, lucky for us, we get to open on Libri- Libria. I'm going to ruin her name every single time. I am so sorry. KB, let's just call her KB. An Edmund meeting finally, and he has quite a strong reaction to her. They have a little bit of an awkward meeting, but they both seem to be pleasantly surprised with what each other looks like. There was a moment where he starts running back to the men's room, like the men's waiting area, and he is like high knee, high stepping. Did I get a no, I didn't get a picture of him running. But she just has this look on her face like, "What am I getting myself into?" And it will not be the last time she has that look. So, they have a cute reveal. He apologizes, or he not apologizes, he proposes, but he also wrote her a love letter, which I think is adorable. So, their story, we can put a pin in for now, but we will be deep diving in thorough later. Next, we see Nick, and it starts with a K. I am the worst with names. I am absolutely the worst with name. I believe it was Kate, and they are having a really sweet moment. He drops the L bomb and he decides that it's time he tells her that he loves her, but she does not reciprocate. They do have a little bit of a talk about it, and she says that she just does not want him to feel like she's saying it just because he did, and that she is actually saying it because she means it and she wants him to know it. So she does also go into a little bit of a conversation about her mom's battle with colon cancer and how horrible of an experience it was for her and her family. And ultimately, and he does ask her if she is religious at all. And she says that she is more spiritual, and that she is very much more spiritual, and that especially watching what her mother went through really made her question God and if he was, what they say he was, how could he let that happen to her mother? Which I 100% get. We then go on to his visit with Annie, and they are having their normal kind of innuendo conversation. They are still very flirty. I believe is it here where they start having a, no, he was going on and on about how he does not drop the bomb here. He doesn't say, I love you here, but he does go on and on about how he can see a life together and he could see him marrying her, which I also thought was a little bit leady and a little unfair because you're telling one girl that you love her, you're telling another girl that you want to marry her essentially, and just kind of seems like love bombing. I don't know. Love bombing's not the word. It just seems like you're really leading these girls on, both of them, to kind of hedge their bets with you. And I get that's what it is. Maybe it's fair, maybe it's genuine. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to I don't know if I'd be able to do this dynamic. It's a lot. We then go into the men's room and we find out this episode that all of the drama is happening in the men's quarters because Nick comes running in and you see him like going on and on and on about how great his date was in front of Brendan. And Brendan, of course, is also in love with Annie, and he is really struggling to make her understand how into her he is, because he is really into her and he does want her to choose him, and he says that he is afraid that she is going to choose someone else and not him, and he's really kind of showing his vulnerable side here. And she's saying, "Well, I need more from you." And he is trying to give her more, I think the best he can. He thinks that he is giving her more. We talked about this last time too, where he thinks that they are one place and she thinks that they are another place. And it's just that they're speaking two different languages. To him, talking about and planning their future together is showing his commitment. And to her, she just hears it as words. She doesn't hear it as him actually making plans and committing to her. She wants those words of affirmation. She wants him to say, I have chosen you, I love you, I want to marry you. And somehow I 100% feel like he feels he's doing this, but she is not receiving what he is saying in that way. We next move on to Patrick. And now Patrick is just here with Casey. It's just the two of them. They appear to be each other's number one and only. And here she is kind of asking him if he is 100%. And he is basically saying, I wanna be, but I'm also a little bit hesitant because I don't know that I feel the full commitment from you. And she is at this point just reassuring her that she is 100% committed. So then we have a moment that I do not feel that we consented to. 'Cause it was a lot, a lot. I am not shaming anybody in that way, like, you are both grown, consenting adults, but we did not consent. As independent parties, we did not in fact consent, so Netflix, seriously. Now we go on to Mike and Sparkle Megan, and you can see more of the fallout of some drama in the men's room. Now, Mike knows that Megan is also dating Jordan, and he is spiraling just a little bit. And this is a place where it's kind of hard to tell if he is becoming manipulative or if it really is just him feeling insecure about their connection and wanting her to choose him. Because how that manifests and how that comes out can be so different sometimes. So he is basically trying to get her to admit that she has another connection. He wants her to kind of reassure him, but he's going about it in like a really weird kind of it also comes off sinister. It almost comes off sinister, but it could be the editing. And I think that she is attributing that to a lot of the underlying like a lot of her past relationships and the underlying problems in them with, affection and control. And she is not responding to it super great, but she's also being very, very patient with it. She comes out and they have a little bit of a room. There's not much drama on the girl side, but where there is drama is the guy side. Cause then you come into the guys' lounge and you see him, he's kind of rolling his eyes while Jordan sits there and talks to Patrick about his amazing connection with Sparkle Megan. And then he goes into the next room. So it's kind of I think they're kind of framing it, and again, it's all in the edit, so we don't know, but they're almost framing it as Mike spying on Jordan's dates with Megan by withholding from Jordan that he's also seeing Megan so that he can get all the dirt. So, again, in this next date, it does appear that Megan is telling Jordan for the first time that she's also dating someone else. He does seem to be pretty shocked by it, whether he is playing it off and pretending or not. We don't know, but he does appear to be relatively surprised. He thought it was just him and Blake, so when Blake left, he thought it was, just a clear shot. And as we know, Megan has definitely been playing the whole field, not just the corner. No offense to Megan, because yeah, if there was a guy that was holding on to 3 girls, we wouldn't say anything. I am totally fine with her keeping her options open, but I'm also nervous that she's reading into some signs wrong. Like she had such a great connection with Blake. If Blake was her number 1 and now, the red flags we're starting to see with Mike and, the red flags we're starting to see with Jordan. What Jordan reminds me of? Jordan kind of reminds me of those guys that purchase a puppy and take the puppy to the park to attract girls. I'm not trying to attribute Luca necessarily to a puppy, but I feel like he definitely leads with the single dad, like leans into the single dad to attract the ladies. I don't think this is the first time, and I don't think it'll be the last time that he uses the single dad line to attract ladies. And there's a couple of red flags or like there's a couple of weird things that he does and says that make me feel that way. I could be wrong. I could 100% be wrong. It could just be, me projecting or something, but I just that it's a concern that I have. So, but she's really, really, really leaning into the connection between Luca and her dad, and it's hard for us to parse out as viewers how this is edited to see what else she is trying to stake this relationship on, because it doesn't really seem like they have anything else in common, and it doesn't and we're not shown it, at least, and it doesn't really seem that they share the other values or the other values or other things in their lifestyle, other goals that are the same other than just Luca. And again, we're just not shown it. And that kind of worries me, especially since she was ready to write him off until Blake left and she felt like it was her father intervening, making her not choose Blake and to focus on this connection. So, that's very, very worrisome to me. If there was something else, like, if it was not about this connection between her father and Luca, I probably would feel completely different about the relationship, but just how things are framed, I'm so worried. So, we go back over and we get to see our next date with Kate and Nick, and this is where things start going really weird. Up until now, I have thought that Nick was a little benign, but this is where my orange flags, we'll call them orange flags, start going off with Nick. Now, Nick here, again, the little bit of spiraling. My impression is that he is a little bit insecure about the fact that Kate still has not said, "I love you" back. And she's basically just saying, like, when I say it back, I wanna be sure. I don't wanna be second guessing myself. I don't wanna be worried that I'm saying it out of obligation. I want to make sure that I feel what I feel and everything is perfect, and that when I say it back, I 100% mean it. And he is not taking that well. The conversation kind of devolves into him saying that at the time he felt it, and that almost taking back his "I love you," and of course, as is 100% predictable, that does not go over well, because she is saying how manipulative it is for him to say, "I love you," if he did not really mean it. And she does say that, like, and he says, "I meant it in the," he's like, "At the moment, at that time, I did mean it." And she's like, "It's not a moment. You don't say, 'I love you,' because you love me in that moment. You say it because it's like love is lifelong. Life is a commitment. Like saying that word is something that you are going to cherish and honor, and like it means something." And he, again, doesn't take it too well. The conversation devolves into religion, and he does ask her if she would ever consider becoming religious, and she basically said no. She explained that she was upset with God for what happened to her mother. She explains that she has no interest in trying to pursue a relationship with God, and he gets angry about this. He says that she said that she questioned God's existence, and so her questioning his existence after her mom got sick implies that there was a before when she was more religious, and she said no, she's never been super religious, she's always been kind of spiritual, and that was kind of the nail in the coffin for her, is when she watched her mom go through and struggle with cancer for 10 years. That was the end for her. She is done. And what I find problematic in this conversation, beside the whole "I love you" thing, which I've already talked about, I just strongly believe that if religion is a non-negotiable for you, whatever is a non-negotiable for you, if you have a non-negotiable, be it religion, be it eating meat, be it, having a child and becoming a part of this child's life, I feel like it needs to be led with in the very first conversation, in the very, very first date, so that you can screen the people out that are not. If her not willing to become religious was a deal breaker for you, why not just bring it up right off the bat? And we see that happening where people will talk about their relationship with God in the very very first meeting. This is obviously not something that they dove into. So it's one of those things again where it's a little bit manipulative. Like you let me fall in love with you, and now you tell me that I have to, convert for you, or I have to go to church for you, I have to do all of these things. Otherwise, we can't be together. Or are you using it in this case for an easy out? Like, oh, well, obviously she's not religious, so it can't work out between us. And I just find that so problematic. So this was kind of where the orange flags started flying for me. And obviously they break up here. We then get to go and witness a date between Nick and Annie. And he does get into religion with her right away. One thing that is funny, just a total side note that is funny watching this video, and the videos with the gifts where they're the dates where they're giving the gifts to their significant others. It's always funny tracking the gifts around the pods because they have the continuity cup, so we can't see where the conversation is given the drinking, but you can kind of tell when they have other props in here, especially for Annie, it was these flowers moving all over the room between the different scenes, so you can tell when they're editing because the roses are in different places in different scenes. Hopefully, you can see it in the pictures, but, pictures are harder to tell than when you're actually watching the seamless transition of the video. So they talk about religion here. They get a little weird with it, like, they start talking about what would happen if they had an LGBTQ child, and it gets a little strange. Not that I don't it's if that's something that's important to you and having those kind of conversations, you know, he talks about how his parents for a little or his mom, not his parents, his mom for a second thought that he may have been gay, but he says he was just depressed over a breakup. But they have a great conversation, and he is giving her the reassurance that she needs, I guess. Like he is speaking more of the same language as her, which is great for her, not so great for Brennan. So this is another situation where they're kind of showing and highlighting the drama in the men's room because Nick comes in and he's talking about how amazing things are going with her. And Brennan's right here and he's having his own little self doubt and spiral moment where he's worried that he's losing Annie. So he goes in and speaks with her, and you can tell that he's still, again, in this visit, trying to kind of grasp at straws. And she's basically telling him that it's kind of too little too late, that she's already received the reassurance that she needed from Nick, and that he didn't tell her that he loved her and that he wanted her and that he wanted them to get married, and he's saying that he tried, like, he felt that he did, that, "What color is our front door? What color is the guest room? And what are" and she is feeling like she did not get the reassurance she needed from him. But it does not seem like they actually had a full breakup at the end of this. We go back to the men's room where there is just more drama, and you can see that Nick is almost trying to reassure Brennan, which is a choice, before we get to go in and see Patrick and Casey. Whew. Okay, so Patrick and Casey, what can I say? Always thought they were cute. Had some yellow flags, some slightly orange flags, but exactly what you think happens, and he proposes. So Casey says yes, they're gonna get married, and they both seem very happy with each other. Oh, it looks like we have another scene with Brennan, and they have some more of their conversation, and this is the conversation where she says, "It's too little, too late, and it's not enough." Their all of their interactions over all of episode 4 were just so much the same, where they're just having these conversations where it is her just saying it's not enough and him saying, "I'm trying," and it's so sad to see because you can see both of them. They're, like, right there, and yet they just can't, like, get together. They just cannot quite, like, meet each other where they need to, and they just keep miscommunicating. And back in the men's room for more of Brennan trying to get there. And I believe this one here Edmund starts consoling him. I believe Edmund starts consoling him and, like, starts crying himself because Brennan was so torn up, and Edmund inserts himself into the drama, and he actually gets choked up because of how hurt Brennan is. We then go back to Mike, and Mike is having the exact same pretty much the exact same response, but going about it a little bit differently. Like, they're framing Mike to be more of the sinister, whereas Brennan is more of a victim, I wanna say, is how they're framing it a little bit. And Mike is he's still pushing, he's still trying to get Megan to choose him, but he's almost doing it, like, in the way of I don't wanna say threatening, but almost like the word I'm thinking of. It's like the carrot and the stick, you know what I mean? Like, he's doing the carrot and stick approach, where he is kind of, like, tapping her for having this other connection and connecting with the other connection, but then he's also trying to lure her in, and she's really just not budging at the end of the day. He keeps making these little comments about how she's making a mistake, but he's not gonna tell her how she's making a mistake, but she's making a mistake and that they're so different, and basically that there's something wrong with Jordan without saying there's something wrong with Jordan. It gives me very much carrot and stick. And then they go into her conversation with Jordan, and it's still here, I believe their conversation was about what happens essentially if she can't get pregnant and what will her purpose in life be, and he's kind of like, well, we can be each other's purpose. Like, this is another one of those things where sometimes he just says things that are a little bit too slick and a little bit too rehearsed. I was like, how many times have you said that before? But I it could just be how it's edited again. Like, he might not even said that, you know. She also asks what their life would look like if they were together with Luca, and he basically says, "I'd have to talk to Luca's mom." So, again, kind of weird, but, of course, Luca's mom would have to be a conversation in it, but I also feel like, and this is again how it's edited, that he almost gave the impression that Luca's mom was not an element in his life, going on about single dad and this and that. Like, it usually implies that you bear a lot more of the responsibility for the child. But again, there's so much editing. So then we get to have another conversation with Annie and Nick. And this is their final conversation where they decide that they're gonna do it. They're gonna go for it. And Nick proposes. Annie, of course, says yes. And we are brought into the lounge where Nick barges in and announces that he's engaged. This is surprise to Brennan, of course, because they didn't actually break up at the end of their conversation that we were shown. It didn't show that they broke up. So Brennan is obviously distraught and really hurt. Nick comes over and kind of apologizes. He's like, "Oh, I didn't realize you were here." And oh, no, this is where Edmund started crying for Nick, because Edmund just wears his heart on his sleeve. There's something that's almost childlike about Edmund's responses a lot of the time, but we're not getting into him here either. Brennan is really upset now he's not only been broken up with, but I feel that he finds Edmund's response to his breakup almost infantilizing. Like, he does not want to have this pity. He doesn't want to be pitied. So he kind of separates himself and goes and sits down. For some reason, Nick thinks it's a great idea to follow him. And he tells Nick, like, no, we're not doing this. Not right now. We then get to see Casey and Patrick's reveal. And let me tell you, living in the before days, just reminiscing about the before days, I was like, oh, they're cute together. They had a decent reveal, nothing to write home about. Not the best, like, not the most exciting, but not the worst. He forgets to engage, propose. He gets to propose. So they have to wander around and look for somewhere to propose. He is super excited about his new fiancée. She seems speechless. And then she's apparently in love with the ring. She is obsessed with the ring, keeps staring at it, and that's where we are left with those 2. Next, it's kind of time for a final conversation with Mike and Megan. He basically tries to tell her that she's making a mistake. She tells him that she is pretty firm on her decision, and, we see the end of that relationship. We then get to see her light up when she speaks to why did I all of a sudden wanna call him Preston? I don't know where that came from. Let me know if you think he looks like a Preston. I don't know why. Why did I think that? Oh my gosh. And he apologizes or he proposes, she says yes, and we go into the reveal with Annie and Nick. They have a cute reveal. Again, it's okay. They are exactly pretty much what each other thought. No, she thought he was gonna be a big burly mountain man. And he was like, I'm happy with what I got. She's happy as well. And overall, they're cute. They're a cute couple. The next reveal we get to see is with Sparkle Megan and Jordan. And again, we have another cute reveal. I think he's the only one that wore a suit. Was he the only one that wore a suit? He's the only one that really like dressed formal for it. And then immediately was like, let's go see pictures of Luca. So it would have been nice if they got to sit down and talk and get to know each other for a second first. But no, they went straight he went straight into let me show you pictures of Luca. So now, apparently, this is just a staple of the show now. We get the obligatory hotel room scene where we see Casey and she is on her villain arc because she has decided that she's got to break up with Patrick. She cannot go to Baja with them because they don't explicitly say she's not attracted to him, but we'll get there. So she's talking to Patrick and she's giving him such mixed messages, and it is infuriating me because he is so blindsided, and he is so in denial that he thinks that there is something happening when they get home. Like, he thinks that she's just overwhelmed by the TV show and that they're gonna go home, and when they go home, they're gonna pick up their relationship, and they're gonna get married, and they're gonna do all of the things. But that's not the case. She's breaking up with him. And I feel like she goes through this whole performative thing where she's, like, walking away and she's jumping on him and she's kissing him and she's making out with them, and it's almost to kind of absolve herself from guilt, but then 45 minutes earlier, we see that they took her aside, and she said flat out that attraction is a big thing to her, and she knows right now that it's just never gonna get there. So she said fully that it's not there, it's not coming. So that's the end of their story for now. I cannot wait until we see them at the party, should either one of them show up, and we get to hear about her ghosting him when he gets back home, because I think that that's the story. And he's all like, "How am I gonna get in contact with you?" She's like, "You have Instagram, right? Like, just look for me on Instagram." So, we're now in Mexico. The couples all kind of get a little bit of a montage of their relationship, the road of their relationship for the first couple of days. Jordan lied to her and said he had a couple tiny tattoos. It turns out he has full sleeves and a leg. So Megan she is so into it. Anton and Ali, we get to see again, and he says he's broke because he just spent 5 grand on her ring, and she said it should have been 10 grand. I think she's joking. Maybe she's not. We will find out more. And then we have Joey and Madison, who I really feel are gonna be the next couple to explode fantastically because he did say that he didn't say he's not attracted to her, but he did say that she's not his type, that she's thicker than what he would normally go for. And here, just like the flags are everywhere. He's just acting so weird. Next, we get to see Calandria and Edmund, and they are in already in such a maternal she's already taken such a maternal role on with him. She's explaining to him in this one, she's explaining the difference between like moisturizer and body lotion, and she is explaining to him her nighttime routine as if she's like teaching him. It's just a weird dynamic kind of seeing between the 2 of them. We get a couple more a couple more scenes with them, and in this scene here, she's saying, like, essentially, "If I were at a club and some guy came up to me and started hitting on me, what would you do?" And he's like, "Nothing. You got this." And she's like, "Okay, but what if he grabbed me?" And he's like, "I'd call security." She's like, "Okay, but what if he wasn't a bigger guy? He was, like, your size. Like, what would you do? Would you, like, say something? Would you step to him? Would you protect me?" And he's all like, "Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. He could be in a wheelchair. I'm not ready to start no like, I'm not about to start any mess." And she's just looking at him like, "Supposed to be my protector." And he's like, "No, I am not about that life." So, we'll see. We will see how she feels about that. They are still out on their adventures, they're going on their dates. He is Joey is always kind of setting off the flags. He does mention here in this scene when they're on the boat that he normally goes for girls that are a little bit thinner. So he is at least honest with her, but it's just like the dynamic between the two of them are just so weird. And I feel like Madison is starting to try and overcompensate for Joey's lack, and I feel like she's starting to pick up on some of his hesitations, but it's hard to tell, like, what it is. Is he hesitant about her? Is he just weird about being filmed? Is he weird about the whole situation? It's just so strange. We go into the obligatory beach or pool party, and they catch everybody reacting to everyone. The girls are kind of communing over on one side as they do and talking all about their nights. We find out that everybody has had their slip up except for Edmund and Calandria. Calibria? I always wanna turn that B into a D. Like, I just and Edmund is saying to the guys basically that he needs he needs to be able to, have sex before marriage, and the guys are actually being very mature and saying, like, that's not something that you can expect from her. If she's ready, she'll be ready. If not, like, just give her some time and that, you can't tell her when she's ready, like, different girls are ready at different times. And I thought that that was a nice response from the guys in general. Edmund's not trying to hear it though. So he comes over and he grabs the sunscreen and starts rubbing up on Calibria's feet, and he is having an entire moment. I don't think I took a picture of it, but he is, like, French kissing her feet and having an entire moment to the point where everybody's like, "You know what? I'm gonna leave you 2 alone," and she's like, "Please don't. Please, please don't leave me alone with him." Okay, she didn't say it, but I felt that in my soul. We also see that Joey and Jordan have a really weird dynamic. They have very, very bro dynamic, and it kind of even sends Megan off, but it really, really puts Madison off. He's almost ignoring Madison, and whenever she does try and speak with him, he's like, "What? I didn't hear you," or he just ignores her fully. This leads for them to have a little bit of a moment, and she walks away. In his defense, he does follow her, and he eventually just says, like, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the room. I'm gonna go to sleep." It gives off that he's pretty wasted. She asks if he wants her to come back to the room with him, and he's like, "No, no, don't come with me unless you want to, but don't. I don't want you there unless you wanna come." And so it's just sending all of these really weird mixed messages. So he ends up leaving, she ends up staying, they hang out. The girls are like, "Is everything okay?" She's like, "I have no idea." And then it does show us when she comes back. They follow her back and she wakes him up. She's like, "Hey, are you okay? I just want to check on you. Do you need anything?" And he like does not remember who she is for a second there. And she's like, "Can I get you some water?" And he's like, "What? Where am I? Who are you? What's going on? Why are you so dressed up?" And asks her repeatedly like where she was. And the entire conversation starts getting a little bit weird and she starts getting scared because he's so out of it when he wakes up. And it really does deteriorate pretty quickly because he accuses her of coming in hot and she's like, "I came in, I scratched your back, I asked you if you were okay. I got you some water. Like, what the heck?" And then she makes a comment about how he was so wasted he had to come back for a nap. And he's like, "Stop saying that." So it does kind of give me, does he have issues with drinking? Because he would And again, it could be how it was edited, but he seemed to be getting, like, angrier and angrier when she pointed out that or she even insinuated that he was drunk. So, it kind of gives off, like, do you have some kind of trauma around drinking, or are you insecure about your drinking? It was really, really weird, and it's hard to pinpoint without having the full picture of what's going on, but again, that's the story that they're telling. That's where we are with that. We then got to go into Calibria and Edmund, and they are kind of talking about I think that they were both a little bit intoxicated here because there was a little bit of slurring of the speech, so take that as it may. But they eventually get to a conversation where she's like, "Everybody else, had sex. Does that bother you that I want to wait until marriage?" And spoiler alert, it really, really does. Like, he absolutely hates that, and he's struggling with it. To the point where he, like, broke down into tears, and I don't think they're tears of sadness, I think they're literally tears of frustration because he's sitting here and he's like, "I'm giving you my all. I'm trying to marry you. I'm trying to give you everything, and you can't give me this." And I thought, there's, like, flags of every color like, flying up, and I want to believe that this is not a temper tantrum, but it comes off as such. So I'm gonna start with that aspect of it, where it comes off very much like I am throwing a full on temper tantrum with tears that you will not sleep with me and that I am entitled to it and I deserve it. And that's how it comes off. And that is just giving me the ick all over, and I absolutely hate it. I hate it for me, I hate it for the viewers, I hate it for the producers, and I hate it for Calibria, I hate it for him. I want to believe that there is something else underlying here that is being triggered for him and that there has to be some kind of underlying trauma here. Again, I am not a psychologist and I cannot diagnose him with anything, and I don't even want to speculate or throw words out there. Like, I do not want to believe that he is being as manipulative as he is coming off. I want to believe that those are genuine tears. I want to believe that that is some kind of trauma that is triggered, that is something deep down inside of him that is giving him this fight or flight response, and that it's not the picture that they're showing. So I'm trying very hard to be empathetic, but what they are showing is just the picture they are painting of entitlement and temper tantrums and hissy fits are is just so it's disgusting. And I hate it. So I wish we could see more of what's going on there, but I don't like how that was edited. It's infuriating. So that's where we are at the end of episode 6. This is my quick fly through recap, which I'm sure is not quick at all because when have I ever said 3 words when I can say 25? But let me know how you feel about this whole scene here. Do you think he is just having a temper tantrum because he feels entitled to his fiance's body, and that she does not get the choice of waiting? And sorry, I should also mention from her side, I have said a lot of times that he has some really interesting behaviors, some really weird behaviors. He keeps coming off almost childlike. And I can see her because she is not a virgin. It's not like she's saving it all for marriage. She has admitted that she has had sex in the past and she's had one night stands in the past. However, I feel like at this point, maybe she does want to wait because she wants it to be intimate and special, and maybe she wants to wait because she sees that maybe she's given it up too quickly in the past, and then that's been part of the problem with their relationship. Maybe she wants to make sure that they know each other fully. Maybe she doesn't want to do it because she has also seen some really questionable behaviors in him or just them being together now that they're together in person. She's not sure if she's 100% a yes. But whatever her reason for saying, I don't want to right now, I want to wait until marriage or I want to wait until I'm sure, is 100% her choice. And I think that that's fine. She is not obligated to say yes just because just because of anything. Like it's consent is consent. So I don't read into that. I think that she wants to do things differently this time, whether it is because she has identified it as being a problem in the past, or whether she has questions about their commitment to each other or her commitment to him. Like she doesn't really owe him an explanation if she says she's not ready. So you let me know what you think, and I will see you again not till Thursday. Wednesday is the next drop of episodes, so maybe Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see you then. Subscribe, like, and come back.